Hello and welcome back to HCS Weekly. I thought, yo, this is my life. I have to go pro in Halo.
In my head, thought that was more efficient, and I guess I was right.
He was like the god. We would have to 2v1 like just to beat this guy. Like
I don't know, man. I'll try to reach you. You're like, oh, see you guys later.
A lot of Halo in my life, man. It's been a fun journey. I love it.
Weekly destination for all things HCS. I'm your host, ShyWay, and yes, we're back with your weekly dose of news, trick jumps, and interviews. And I'm excited, guys, because today's episode is a little bit different. Usually, we're focused on Halo esports, on multiplayer updates, on abilities, on the war of sprint versus no sprint, but today is specifically about Halo's story. We are going in depth with Halo Infinite's story, with the trailer, and we've got a mastermind in Halo lore himself joining us on the show, HiddenXperia. Very excited to bring him on, but before we get there, we've got our news. We've got our trick jump, and apparently we have some giveaways too. Tony, I forgot to confirm this before the show. I think we have a giveaway for Astro headset. Tell me we've got the graphic for this. No. Oh my God. I'm so sorry, Tony. I did. All right. I said nothing. You guys heard nothing. Don't mention again. All right. So Tony, we gotta plan this before the episode. Here I am talking about giveaways we don't have. I do know a giveaway that we have for sure, guys. Type !grassroots in the chat, and we've got our grassroots BR skin and our nameplate as well. That's 100% going to be given away on today's episode. So type !grassroots in the chat. You can be entered in the contest, and I will now move on to the news with MattyRums from newscombo.com. I got Matty. Just join me.
You all right? You good?
No, I don't know, man. Tony sent me a message about an awesome surprise that we got coming up that I'm not allowed to reveal, and then I'm like, shoot, I forgot to ask him when that's supposed to happen, and yeah, there you go. I'm revealing details. I'm not.
There you go. Yeah.
All right, your turn. We got news. What do we got this week?
We got real
Halo.
short this week. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah, you let me know.
Halo 3 ranked Team Slayer is coming to Master Chief Collection, I believe, tomorrow. Postums talked about it in the latest playlist update, which was real small, just had to do with Griffball. But and then yesterday on Twitter, we made a post saying that it would be available in 2 days, which was yesterday, so hence why tomorrow should be available.
Right.
And they'll be experimenting with something new. Dana Jertback, who's a designer for MCC, mentioned that they'll be using partial team matchmaking, which means your party of 3 or 4, you will only be matched with other parties of 3 and 4, and obviously a solo if it's 3.
Yeah.
But if you're, party of 2 or anything like that, you won't be put up against groups of 4 or 3.
I like that concept. That just always makes me worry when we have a low player base, though, right? Like because I know the Halo 5 dilemma where you got a team of 4 and then you never find a game. But I get it from the point of balance. So they probably have to do that, and as a kind of like a prerequisite to MCC on PC, hopefully you have a much larger audience that comes in, and then this starts to really take effect. But this is BR starts Team Slayer ranked, right? The
only thing is I don't believe it's MLG settings. So that's what some people are iffy about. But they did say it will be BR starts.
Okay, so no adjustment with like speed and stuff like that?
Didn't say anything, so we'll see. I've been waiting for I say it all the time to like Sandman and stuff. I just want a social playlist with competitive settings.
Yeah. Just start with the BR instead of the AR, so I can just practice the BR and just slay things and not worry too much about team dynamics, objective plays. Just practice exactly.
Yeah. As far as maps go, they said that map favorites like Heretic Guardian and Pit will be weighted a lot heavier than maps like Ghost Town or Assembly.
Let's go.
That people don't really like as much. So it should be live tomorrow, I guess, if all goes according to plan.
Yeah, and that's how it should be. I like that. Add like priority weights to the maps that are the most popular, so you see them the most often. Though in the end of the day, what we really want is a veto system. I know that's like kind of the ultimate dream, but this is the second best thing. We'll take that for now, I guess. We do have Halo Classic Atlantic City Halo CE 2v2 announced as well. Tell me about this.
Yeah, so much like St. Louis, there was going to be a Halo CE 2v2 side event. It's $120 for a team pass. The prize pool is $2,000. I believe it's winner take all. But it'll be Halo NHE Neutral Host Edition. Will be played on original Xboxes on CRT televisions. So
the only way to play.
The full classic experience.
Yeah, I love that. And they did that with the first Halo Classic, and that was really awesome too. And it was such a great thing to add to the event. I remember David Sandman, who was taking photos, he managed to grab this amazing photo. I don't know if you remember. It was like two guys,
two people.
Yeah, like a 2v2 in the corner of Halo CE on two CRTs. It just looks so nice. With, like,
there was nobody else around him.
Yeah,
it was real good.
Yeah, that brings me back. It's kind of like, and I always kind of harken to the Smash Bros. Melee community. They're still using the old hardware. It was just the good old times. But yeah, so 120 for team passes, $2,000 announced for that tournament. That's going to be pretty exciting. So another reason to go to Halo Classic. And once again, we also have a 4v4 qualifier, and the first registration is open. What's this?
Yeah, so they're doing the 3 different qualifiers before the event for seeding purposes. If you want to get a better seed, you compete in the qualifiers, get some points. There was originally 4, but the first one I believe was going to conflict with Face It Ignite, so they got rid of the first one.
Right.
But the first one, Saturday, August 3rd at 12 p.m. Central Time. Mm-hmm. You can register now, but registration closes the day before Friday, the 2nd at 12 p.m. And you can do so at ugcesports.gg.
Right, so start registering, guys. Atlantic City this September, Halo Classic number 2. It's going to be exciting, and I can't wait for that. So it's great to see more news there. We also have tournament results. We just had an event this past weekend. I didn't really get to watch it. Did you watch it, Matty? I saw a bit.
Yeah, I was watching. I'd fall asleep for a little bit. I'd wake up, watch a little bit more, fall asleep again, wake
understandably.
up. Yeah. I'm normally in bed at like 9 o'clock because I wake up early for morning for work. So there's no way I was going to be able to stay up for that whole thing.
Yeah. But I will be watching all of the past broadcast stuff and the highlights and whatnot too, just so I can come up with some sort of a breakdown. But we have our results for it. What do we got here?
For Red Bull, Rise of Dawn, first place was, I guess it's Gooder, but it was Trippy and Penguin. Second place was Reciprocity, Snipe Down and Ace. Third went to Infinite, Boo Boo and Tusk. And fourth was GMS, Gabriel and Fantasy.
Right. So huge showing from Trippy and Penguin. And we talked about it last week with Sims, just the fact that they didn't really get their time in the spotlight. These guys are so talented. They just need that opportunity. This was the opportunity, and they won the event. So
Trippy especially was going off.
Yeah, really, really incredible showing from these guys. And yeah, they just proved that they have what it takes coming out of Halo 5 into Halo 3. They're still just as talented, which is great to see. And yeah, Matty, I skipped over the other tournament results here. I didn't notice. Breaking the Clutch, Halo Wars E-League Invitational. What's this?
Yeah, so they had what they called their E-League, which was the past few months. They had an open tournament each month. So this one was the winners from each tournament as well as the top players, so like runner-ups. So first place went to Amarante 99. Second place was Hero Absolution. Third place was Liam White.
Nice. So good to
see. A
see.
little bit of prize money with that too.
Yeah. And Halo Wars, I don't follow quite as closely, but it's part of the Halo universe. So it's always nice to see some events and stuff going on for Halo Wars as well. We have events this week as usual. What do we got?
Saturday, the July 20th, are the Face It Ignite qualifiers, both for EU and North America. They're the pool play. Again, same thing for seeding purposes.
Yep.
Also, over in your neck of the woods in Toronto, we have the GT Halo King of the North free-for-all at Landlord's Gaming Center. Yep. And then Sunday, July 21st, at Halo 3 Community is hosting a $1,000 random 2v2 invitational that is filled with pros and top AMs.
Right. And this kind of just came out of nowhere, right? How does that work? Do they randomly pair up 2 people?
Yeah, and then the players he has going: Ace, Fantasy, Straight Sick, Gabriel, Munoz, Ryan New, Boobadooboo, Guntype, Neighbors, Zerka, Goofy. Yeah, a bunch of people you recognize. Yeah. And I believe he told me Friday he's going to put the teams together, but he's going to pick, randomly who's going to get paired.
Right. So that's awesome. That's going to be a lot of fun when you have completely random teams paired up. We'll see how that dynamic goes. Also happy to announce that I will be at the King of the North FFA at the Landlord's Gaming Center, guys. I'm planning on casting it. Not really sure how it's going to all kind of roll out. We'll see as we go, but I will definitely be there, and I'm excited to be there. Good to have some local Halo events and to actually have some time on the weekends to go to them. So anyway, these are the events for the week, and I believe that covers everything for the news today, Matty.
Yeah, that's it.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me.
Yeah, anytime, man.
No problem, dude. Thank you, Matty, for the news. Remember, guys, you can check out noobcombo.com for all the information there in detail with the links to Halo Waypoint. Just everything that you would need is on noobcombo.com. Let's go right into the trick jump segment with ClearlyMe. There we go. How's it going, Clearly?
It's going pretty good, man.
I'm good. I think he wasn't sure if I should transition it because I cut it off like so early, but anyway, we're good. So you have an awesome jump. I'm assuming you always have an awesome jump. What do you got for me today, dude?
I got something for some of the sweaty MLG kids out there. Oh, Tony's playing a different clip. Oh, this one's good too.
This is 2 clips. What do we got?
Well, the clip I submitted is on Onslaught. This is a Guardian clip. But this is a completely this is a tutorial. No. This is a tutorial I sent to Tony.
It was labeled onslaught.mov, says Tony.
Really?
Clearly.
Oh, man.
Thrown him for a loop. Can we locate the original Onslaught video, or do we have an entire tutorial on? We literally have
an entire quiet tutorial going on right now.
Well, how do you climb this tree? What? In the meantime, unless you haven't sent it to Tony, you need to send it to Tony. Like
I did. I just
because if he has it, maybe you can find it while we're scaling the tree here. I don't know.
All right. Onslaught 2. Okay. Renamed it. Okay. So there's another file, Tony. Oh, but yeah, that's a ghost jump up the tree to get up onto B2. On Guardian. But yeah, the whole first bit's quiet because I actually sent it to Tony for some editing a while back.
Okay.
But yeah, you do a little ramp jump up the tree and you hit a ghost jump right around where I'm shooting the plasma pistol bullets. And then you run backwards very quickly and turn around and you land up on B2.
So how do you run backwards? How does that allow you to make that second jump?
Well, the ghost jump, same thing with edge ghosts. You can run momentarily. Right as soon as you hit them correctly. That moment of time that you can run is about a quarter of a second, not even. So you can use that to your advantage and gain momentum in a different direction if need be. And in this case, works out perfect for B2. But it's kind of the I think this
Are we
is
changing?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, here we go.
All
right, 2 sweaty jumps. What we got?
Quick little shortcut from bottom to top mid here on Onslaught.
Yeah, this one's nice.
Mm-hmm. Now, what's going on here exactly is there's this tiny little lip that you can see me smack my head on right here, bottom mid. And just like that B1 to B2 jump on Guardian that we're accidentally shown, you can momentarily run off of it. So you smack your head where the flat and the curved surface meet on the wall, and you create that moment in time where you can momentarily run and jump. So you smack it, you run towards top mid, and jump, and you hold crouch to clear your landing, and you eventually make your way up there.
It doesn't look complex from the video, though. How hard would you say it is out of 10? Like, would you hit it every time?
No, I would say it's if you don't have practice with it, at first it's probably a good 7 out of 10 as far as difficulty. The lip that you're hitting is extremely small, so it's hard to pinpoint exactly when you should jump to smack that curve just right.
Right.
But once you get the timing down, it becomes more of like a 2 or 3 out of 10. But extremely useful. Extremely useful. I've been meaning to try to get a clip in hardcore with this to show you guys, but I wasn't able to get around to doing that. But I will be posting a full-on tutorial of this tomorrow. I haven't posted a individual jump tutorial in a while, so this will be the first one.
Yeah.
So after a long tutorial hiatus, this will be the first one in a while.
Awesome. So, good to have. And that's also why I asked about kind of the difficulty of it, because if you look at that jump, that is so practical for competitive play. It's quick to launch, and then it gets you up to top mid, which is a great power position to be in. So just the fact that you can execute it so quickly, if you can get it down consistently, that's a clear advantage in competitive play, and a perfect example of a sweaty jump. So looking forward to the full tutorial on that. And then, of course, that means that there's so many different locations that people can join the trick jumping community, be a part of this, and learn these tutorials themselves. So let us know where to find you, Matty. Or not Matty, John, ClearlyMe. John, I'm sorry, dude.
Yeah, you're all good. All my handles are at MCC Trick Jumps, so twitter.com/MCC Trick Jumps, youtube.com/MCC Trick Jumps. I also have a Discord server completely dedicated to the trick jumping community, so if you want to meet other OG trick jumpers like myself, as well as new noobs that are into the trick jumping scene that just want to learn. You can meet up, talk, and request tutorials. We have a challenge system, just a really cool place. And I will be posting links to that server on Twitch and on Mixer after my segment is over.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, there you guys go. There's a group for trick jumping for all of this, and this is great prep work going on into Halo Reach and the future Halo titles to just build your skills in trick jumping. So thank you so much, Clearly, for joining me once again with the trick jump. We had 2 of them this time, and looking forward to seeing what you have next week, man.
Yeah, thank you. And Tony, if you can hear me, I apologize. Hey, you guys take it easy.
No problem, dude. All right, that closes our news and our trick jump for the week, and I'm excited to bring on our Halo lore expert, HiddenXperia. How's it going, dude?
Hey guys, how's it going? I'm pretty good myself.
Man, so nice to have you on. I know you're just this massive Halo fan. I spent the entire day going through your videos on Halo lore, and I've learned so much I didn't know about Halo. It was incredible. And I'm excited to talk about it, but how have you been, man? Like, I know we have MCC, PC, we have Halo Infinite. We're kind of playing a waiting game, but there's a lot of like new food for thought stuff to talk about. Are you excited about it all?
Absolutely. Like after 3 years of, Halo 5 wasn't really my cup of tea. So after 3 years of sort of like just waiting, it feels so good to finally get something, like getting the Reach PC stuff and then the Infinite stuff. It's like, feels good.
Yeah.
Feels very good.
Yeah, and I know they just had the flighting test for Reach, but unfortunately you missed out. But not that unfortunate though, because you were in Japan at the same time. We've got an image here. You're on Mount Fuji instead of playing MCC PC. What were you doing in Japan? This sounds awesome, man. Tell me about this.
It was literally just a holiday. I went with my uncle. We've been meaning to go for like 5 years now. We were going to go originally in 2014, and then it didn't happen. So a few months ago, he says to me like, you want to just go this year? And I was like, hell yeah, let's do it. And we booked it like 2 months ago. I wanted to go there for a long time, so it was great to finally get there. The place was unreal, genuinely unreal.
So you'd never been to Japan before that?
Nope. Furthest east I've ever been before that was like Greece, Cyprus. Like that was the furthest east that I'd ever been by a long shot.
Right. So much more to explore. But did you go to? And I'm gonna butcher the pronunciation of this. Akihabara. Okay.
Yeah.
Did you go there? Because I went there and it was amazing, dude. That was like my nerd utopia. Like,
it was nuts. We were only there for like 2 hours. We didn't have long there because it was the last day.
2 hours, dude. I spent like days there. That was amazing.
I could have done. Like that's the thing. I could have done. I saw the Gundam Cafe. And the queue was like across the entire block to get in. Went in a bunch of anime stores, saw some strange things in the anime stores. Lots of posters. Let's just phrase it like that. Lots of posters on the walls in the anime stores. Just wandered around in general, honestly, and going from like Ginza to Shibuya and then to Akihabara, it's so different. Like it is. Right. Unbelievably different to the other districts. It's crazy.
Yeah, just an unbelievable city. I wish I could go back, but you didn't go into detail about those buildings there. I'm not afraid to though. But so Akihabara, for those who don't know, I'm not even going to say that name again, but it's just this beautiful electronic district of Tokyo, and all the buildings are covered in these massive anime posters, and you have buildings that are just like stories of anime, like novels and models and electronics and GameCube controllers. I'm a huge Melee fan, so I bought like 4 GameCube controllers. And then the bottom floor is usually hentai. Is that what you meant to say? Yeah. Which is like some R-rated stuff in the bottom floor. You go downstairs, you can experience all that, and then you go upstairs and you get all these models and posters, and it's just like I said, nerd utopia. It's amazing.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's so nice there.
Yeah. So really worth skipping the first flight for MCC, I would say.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And I did a little more scrolling through your Twitter, and you've got some really dedicated fans as well, man. You've got this one fan who has a tattoo that he says was inspired by your logo. Guys, check this out. Man, how does it feel getting something like that on your Twitter feed?
Unreal, because the tattoo looks absolutely sick.
Yeah.
It's not just the fact that it was inspired by my logo, but the tattoo looks so sick. The fact that it looks so cool and it was inspired by my logo is like it's unreal. I genuinely can't I can't even come up with words for it. It's nuts. The fact that like if you told me 8 years ago that it'd get to this point, I don't know what I would have said. I wouldn't have had any words for you. It's crazy.
Yeah, yeah. And then that was your logo there just a second ago. Is that inspired by the legendary symbol, I'm assuming? This is the symbol right here. How did you come up with your logo originally? I guess.
Well, I mean, I've always been a massive fan of like the elites and like their lore, their culture. Like the Arbiter in Halo 2 was like I absolutely adored the Arbiter missions in Halo 2 when I first played it, and he's been like one of my favorite characters ever since. And I was like, you know what? I love elites. I love energy swords. Let's combine the two and make it look cool. And Pixel Flare did exactly that.
Oh, and it was Pixel Flare who did it as well? That's amazing. Pixel Flare's been killing it. Just to give a quick shout out to Pixel Flare. I know he's launching a new channel with The Sims as well, but just all of his animations are unbelievable. Guys, you probably already know about it. It's on Twitter, but go follow the man. Go follow the new YouTube channel as well. But yeah, it's pretty incredible to see like just these fans that they have tattoos based on the logo, and I agree that like as somebody who's focusing on Halo lore, I think that's a great logo to have, like the legendary campaign symbol. Yeah. That's literally it right there.
It fits perfectly.
Yeah, yeah. And that's not all you've been up to. You have an Area 51 haul as well. I know this is a stupid joke about Area 51, isn't it? Apparently we've got some like viral Facebook event. Everybody wants to storm Area 51. Apparently you got there first, and you picked up some goodies along the way. What do we have here?
So I picked myself up a nice little Type 52 plasma rifle. It's just like a nice little pocket rifle, but it fits in the pocket quite nicely, but it does quite a lot of damage. And then of course got myself a needler as well. I mean, you can't go to an area with loads of Halo weapons and not come out with a needler. You just have to.
It looks sick. Where do you actually get those though?
Area 51. Oh, no, for real though, for real. The needler, I got with a limited edition of Halo 5 that came out only in the UK, really? Called the Pink Mist edition. So I got the needler with that, and then the plasma rifle I got around the same time. It's a company called Triforce. Yeah, Triforce. Made a brute plasma rifle and a regular plasma rifle, and they made only 500 of them, and they're like 1-to-1 scale, 1-to-1 weight, everything. And I ordered it in 2014, and it ended up coming in like 2017. But it was worth the wait, because that thing, like, it genuinely feels like a real plasma rifle would. Like, the same weight, the same size, the same heft to it. Like, it gives you a whole new appreciation of Marines that just run around with it.
It looks sick. Yeah, and I guess that means that my producer Tony was way off, because he said, I'm pretty sure you could buy those at Walmart. And I guess you're not getting any of that stuff at Walmart. You said there was like 500 only? That's crazy. So
yeah, they made 500 plasma rifle ones, so 500 red ones and 500 blue ones. And I had to get one. I had to.
All right. Well, we've got a lot to talk about today. I want to go all the way back to the beginning, but just to kind of preface this, today you're an accomplished Halo YouTuber with nearly 300,000 subscribers. Guys, he's just a few thousand away. Go hit the subscribe button right now, like literally 297 or something. What are you at? You're so close.
It's, about that, 297. Yeah, 297.
Yeah, and you're an expert on Halo lore, creating high-quality videos that tell stories of the Halo universe, ranging from some of its biggest unanswered questions to the history of a single piece of armor. But it looks like there's been a long journey here, over 8 years from what I can tell. So where did it all begin? How did you first get into Halo?
So it's a little bit of a story, kind of. So way back when, like mid-2002, when CE came out in the UK, I went to Toys R Us with like my mum and one of my friends and his mum, and our parents said, you can get one game and that's it. Right. He went off and got Harry Potter and one of the Harry Potter games on PS2. I remember exactly. He got one of the Harry Potter games on PS2, and then I was looking. Yeah, exactly, dude. Exactly. I was like the only kid in the school with an Xbox, and I was looking through the games and I saw Halo, and I was like, oh, this looks pretty cool. Took it home, played it for like 6 or 8 hours, and literally until my eyes started to sting. I remember the sensation of my eyes stinging. I played for so long, and like that moment when I first started playing it, I knew. I had almost like an epiphany type thing. Like I knew this was my game. Like I knew for a fact this is my game. Literally from the day that I got Halo CE, I wanted to work for Bungie. That was like that was what I said throughout all of like elementary school and high school until like the later years. But playing CE for the first time in like 2002 just like, without sounding cringy, legitimately shaped me as a human being. I'm not exaggerating that. It became like part of my persona.
Yeah.
I feel like it's kind of worked out.
You're not an outcast on that one, because like literally every single person I interview, their personality, like who they are, is shaped by their experience with Halo as a child, myself included. So, dude, you're same as all of us. But what a way to fall upon Halo. Like, most people hear about Halo like through a friend, or they end up experiencing it at a friend's place, whatever it is. It's some massive success, like in advertising. You make it sound like you just picked it up in like a bargain bin at Toys R Us.
Honestly,
like,
it was pretty much that. It was I walked across the aisle of games for Xbox, literally just saw this game that I'd never heard of before in my entire life, picked it up, took it home, played it. I heard about Halo 2 kind of like that. This is a little story as well if you guys want to hear it. So it was like late 2003, I think. We were getting our bathroom decorated, like our bathroom completely refurbished. And it turns out the painter that was doing it was a massive Halo fan. And he was like, he saw me playing Halo CE, and he was like, Halo 2's coming out, right? I was like, what? No, dude, no. And he brought around one of the old, like, Xbox game magazine little discs with all the game trailers on it.
Yes, yeah, like
with the Halo 2.
Nintendo Power, the same type of thing, right?
Yeah, like that. He brought around the disc with with a Halo 2 trailer on. I'm 99% sure it was that iconic trailer where Chief jumps out of the defense station, out the Cairo. Right. With the bomb. It was that one.
With the bomb. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's so sick.
It was that one. Yeah. And I remember putting it into my Xbox, watching it, and being like, this can't be real. This cannot be real. This cannot be real. And thankfully it was. Yeah.
So you became very passionate about this stuff almost immediately. As you said, like, you're playing till your eyes sting or whatever. But, so you already said, like, you'd wanted to work at Bungie from a very young age. So I guess, how did that passion transition into you creating content? When did that start to happen?
Well, I started making actual video content in like 2008, making like RuneScape videos with Windows Movie Maker. Yeah. But with Halo, it like properly started in like 2010-ish when I started my channel. I was really into this thing in Halo 3 called HLG, which stood for Hidden League Gaming, which is basically where you get the lead and you hide. But it's not just hiding, like, you get in genuine, like, it was basically trick jumping in a way. Part of the jump, some of the spots required trick jumping to get into. So like, you'd get the lead and then you trick jump into like some super sneaky spot and just hide there for the rest of the game and essentially like troll the rest of the team. And that's basically how I got into YouTube. People were posting sort of like video montages of them hiding on people, and I was like, this is dope, I want to do this as well. So I bought like a
troll.
Yeah, pretty much, dude. Since day one. So I ordered like a $7 capture card that had the option to record either color or sound, not both. It was one or the other. So I opted for color, and I kind of just started from there.
Right. So speaking of the beginnings, let's go back to your very first video. So I went all the way back 8 years ago to your first video. It's 14 seconds of betrayal sticky across the map. Let's check it out. Wait for it. Why are you doing this, by the way? This is just mean.
So this was actually in a game of HLG. If you look at everyone else's names on our team, they were basically like hidden something or HLG something. All the service tags were like H16. I was in a hiding spot and everyone else was coming to get into it. And I thought, like, you know what? I'm just going to go for a ridiculous stick and it's not going to happen. Yeah. And then it just hit my friend and he was like, I remember him in the party chat was like, wait, what? I just started laughing.
Yeah, I mean, one of the best things I love about going back in when you're a big YouTuber, you go back to the very first video and you look at the comments, and Tony has a screen grab for the comments too, if we can show that. This is always great to read. It's like, on this day, an icon was born 7 years later, right? And then there's this one, it says 2K18 and still iconic. I see iconic spaced out like that everywhere, and it's on your Twitter. What is that? What is iconic? What does that mean?
So this has a story behind it as well. So I don't know if you can remember this, 2016, 2017, there was a whole sort of like, I'll say conversation. It was more like a constant never-ending debate about Halo's art style. About like, a lot of people preferred like the Bungie art style to the one that 343 had with Halo 4 and Halo 5. And essentially me and one of my good friends, Late Night Halo, who's another Halo YouTuber, we felt so passionate about it that we made like 30-minute long videos critiquing certain art styles.
I think I saw some of this, yeah.
Yeah, and the first art style video that I made, he helped me write it because it was right in the middle of like the worst university exams that I'd ever done. So I was like super stressed by those, but I also wanted to work on this video. and essentially the script was low quality. I said iconic in it. I described something as iconic like 30 something times. Like there's loads of video like take a shot every time he says iconic, and some of the replies are like, "Don't do that, you'll get alcohol poisoning. Don't do it, dude."
Oh my God.
But yeah, that's pretty much where it stemmed from. And like people started commenting like iconic, iconic, iconic. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna run with this. I'm gonna make this sort of like a meme, or like a serious meme of the channel that is like almost sort of like a catchphrase in a way. Because especially at the time, it described a lot of the content that I was making pretty well. Like I was making a lot of content because, like I said before, I wasn't the biggest fan of Halo 5. I was making like a lot of sort of classically themed content about like Halo 3, Halo 2, and all that.
And the fact that was iconic in comparison.
Exactly, yeah. That's the thing. It fit it perfectly. So I was like, you know what? Let's roll with this. Let's see what we can do with this.
Yeah. And that became your brand, basically. That's what I love is like these stories where people's brands come out of like completely accidental scenarios. Like you made a mistake, or you're like you said iconic a million times in a show, and then you just play into it. And then we have your merch link here as well. You can see your merch is iconic on the shirt right there. Is that Japanese characters as well?
It is.
Tell me about this a bit.
Iconic written in Japanese. So I'm into like a lot of streetwear type stuff, like Supreme, Bape, and all that. And I sort of like style my designs off that in a way, kind of like in a way, like you know how Nadeshot design is 100 Thieves merch.
Sure.
I sort of take that approach with it. Like I want to design merch that's Halo based, absolutely, but I want it to be something that I like. I wear Halo shirts like a lot, but like I want it to be something that I would legit like wear in like a good outfit, and I try and design it like I try and fill both like roles. So it's like a Halo shirt, but it's one that you would like wear with like a good outfit kind of thing. So that's kind of where that came from.
Which is the best way to go. Like make something that people would actually enjoy wearing that looks good, stylish on the street, and then it also showcases your brand and what you mean for your channel. So yeah, I think you nailed that with the look that you got there. And so I went back in your videos a little more. I tried to find the first ever commentary from you as well. And we talked before the episode. Apparently this isn't actually your commentary, but we'll play it anyway. This is one of your first videos. This is a tutorial on how to fly the Pelican or Phantom in Halo Reach. Tony, play what we have in the audio, and then we'll chat.
We are now going to get in a Falcon or Pelican even on campaign of Halo Reach. Mission New Alexandria. Got to get to the point on which you've got to defend cats. Don't know why. Why would anyone want to? But there you go. There's this building next to Club Erect.
Okay, our mics are back. So yeah, tell me about it. Yeah. So this is like an elaborate process too, it seems.
Yeah, it was this Easter egg that I can't remember who found it. It might have been a guy called CM Nia, who was like an old, like really popular like Halo glitching and Easter egg channel. But it's this Easter egg where basically you can turn either a Banshee or a Falcon on the mission New Alexandria in Reach into a Pelican or a Phantom. And basically what you have to do is you have to fly around New Alexandria, around the city. And on like underneath a bunch of the roofs of the skyscrapers, there are these little switches. I also think you have to be a legendary for this as well. I'm pretty sure this is a legendary too. And basically,
out of the vehicle, this right here, this looks tough because
it's actually quite difficult. Yeah, like you have to jump on top, avoid the propeller bleeds, and then hit the switch. And there's like 2 or 3 of them. And then you'll see in a minute if we get to there. There's this massive sort of like archway that looks like one of those Dyson bladeless fans. Like a massive version of one of those. You have to go and fly either a Falcon through that to get a Pelican or a Banshee through it to get a Phantom, basically. And it was just really cool because obviously people had wanted to like fly Pelicans and Phantoms for God knows how long, like literally over a decade. And this is the first way to like legitimately do that. And I remember like back in the day when this Easter egg was found, everyone was clamoring to do it. Like, here, you can see me trying to get a Banshee to get a Phantom.
Yeah. But when you're actually in the vehicle, it's not like, so you can control it, but you can't run into any of the buildings or something. There's like a lot of rules. You can't get out of it.
Yeah.
You can't fly into buildings. People can get picked up, but you can't get out or something.
Yeah, they don't. I think it was the Phantom doesn't have any collision whatsoever, so you can fly straight through buildings. And I don't think the Pelican does either. And I also remember that the Pelican, if you stop, the nose just starts to dip like vertically. So it's like, it's not exactly the most polished thing, but
right, it can't climb, right? It can't
Yeah,
go up.
that's it. It can't climb, so it's on like a never-ending descent.
Okay. Yeah.
Cool Easter egg though. Really cool Easter egg.
Some humble beginnings here, as you guys can see. It's come a long way. So, scrolling through your YouTube some more, I found that you've had so many videos. You're doing this for years, and a couple videos would kind of gain some traction, but nothing would really pop off. What was the channel like for you in this earlier stage? Was it kind of just like a hobby on the side? Did you have big goals you wanted to achieve? Did you ever expect it to blow up like it has today?
It was God. Thinking back to it back then, I have no idea what I was doing. I genuinely can't remember if I was trying to like get it to blow up or anything. Like obviously I wanted it to, but I honestly can't remember if I was actively trying to. I was just sort of posting what I wanted to. Like you will have seen when you went back, there was quite a lot of Call of Duty zombie stuff on there as well.
Other games and stuff.
Yeah, there was like a little bit of Minecraft, which is something that's a very embarrassing set of videos. They're staying there. They're being preserved. They're going nowhere.
You never removed a single video, have you? Do you have everything there?
There's some that I removed because they were copyright. Yeah, I had a few of the HLG ones that I had from ages ago had like really bad copyright music in them. I used like a bunch of I used some Breaking Benjamin in some of them. Some of a Scottish band called Biffy Clyro, and they were all like copyrighted to hell. So I basically had to get rid of them all. But most of the stuff is still there. Most of it's still there.
Yeah. So I tried to find the point where you really started to like lift off and your channel started to boom. And it seems like from what I was able to gather here that it started to lift off between the release of Halo 4 and Halo 5. You made this video series called The Story of Blue Team. The first one was on Frederick, and we'll play that up in the background. And then you released the other characters on Blue Team as well. And all these videos did really well. Was this like a point where you noticed a shift in the direction of your channel? Did something click? If not, when did that really start to happen?
Yeah, no, definitely. Funny thing is, there's the old intro and the old logo.
Nice.
That was literally just ripped straight from a band. Yeah, towards like the midpoint of Halo 4, I actually quit YouTube.
Okay.
Yeah, because Halo 4's views were like no bueno. Like no one was pulling any views. It was kind of like, it felt like a lost cause. So I moved away from Halo for a bit. I stopped uploading to YouTube. I focused on school. And then towards the end of like my last year of school, before I went to university, I was like, I need to get back into this. So I got back into it, and instead of just like posting anything like that I was playing like I used to, I was like, right, I'm going to come back. I'm going to make just Halo content. I'm going to start off with lore stuff and see what happens. See if it works well, then I'll stick with it. If it doesn't, then I'll maybe try like multiplayer or something, or customs. But I'll start off with like lore stuff because I mean I've been reading the book since 2004, 2005. I've been a huge fan of the story since day one. It was fitting. It was really fitting. Yeah. So I did that. And I mean, people enjoyed the videos. It was in the run up to Halo 5, and a lot of sort of casual fans were starting to hear about Blue Team, and we're starting to hear people say that like these are characters that have got huge histories in the lore. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to make a whole series of videos about these characters, about the history, about like their life and everything, about why they're such cool characters, and people enjoyed them. They were the first videos that I'd had since 2011 to like really, really do well. But these ones, I put a lot of time into those videos. I mean, looking back, they're quite frankly trash compared to like compared to like my standards.
That's probably how you see it, considering how much, like over years of improvement, you look back at your old videos and you're like, oh god, this is embarrassing.
Yeah. Oh, the commentary is awful. The commentary is embarrassing. Yeah. But like, I mean, to me now at least it is. But they got the job done. People enjoyed them. They got a lot of views. They got traction to my channel. They got people watching my other stuff. So I mean, I'm not going to knock them. At the end of the day, they did exactly what they needed to do, and I enjoyed making them. So win-win.
So, yeah, did that kind of give you the outlet? Like you're like, oh, like lore is what people really seem to enjoy from me, so now I'm just going to make more lore related videos. I think you had like a history of like the assault rifle or something that came shortly after.
Yeah, the sequel to that video is coming out anytime now. I've been saying that for 4 years.
Oh, you have a sequel for that?
Yeah, I wrote the script on the plane and I never finished it. One of these days. But yeah, it sort of gave me an outlet to carry on making videos like that, because when I started making those, I had no idea like if people were going to enjoy them or not, because there was another channel that I was quite a big fan of called Halo Cannon who made really good videos like that, and I was like, right, I'm going to come in and I'm going to make slightly more casualized versions of those videos. Sure. and I mean, it worked. So it did what it needed to do.
And then something I forgot to include in the interview overall is just, it seems like you started from a very young age for this. Like, how old were you when you started? And then how did you come up with the name HiddenXperia as well?
It was 2010, so I think I was 13.
Right. Yeah, because you're like at the end of high school, you're like, you focused on school, and before university, you continued with the channel. So you were very young doing this stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I was 13, I think. Yeah, about 13. I mean, I've been into sort of like video creation for years. I'd always liked like acting and stuff. And one of the side plans for like a career was always like, I'd love to be an actor. Like, I'd love to do acting. And I mean, commentary and voice acting kind of plays into that. So I was like, you know what? Let's give it a shot. And
And then where did the name HiddenXperia come into the picture?
So Hidden is from HLG. Hidden was like a lot of people who did HLG put at the start of their name. Their name was either like HLG Xperia or HiddenXperia, and I liked Hidden. Hidden sounded cool. And then Xperia was literally, people say like, oh, did you have like an Xperia phone or something back then? Nope.
Oh.
Picked the name out of thin air. Picked a random word that I thought sounded cool out of thin air. Like 13-year-old me just thought, this sounds cool because it's got an X in it, and there you go. That was it.
For a second, I thought people thought that you recorded your stuff on an Xperia phone, and you saw that and were like, "Oh, that's a cool name," and you made it your name. So you just got it out of thin air. You're saying, okay, that's cool, man. Yeah, it caught on. It works for the channel, of course. So this kind of like launched into your own unique specialization. You're telling stories on the history of literally anything and everything in the Halo universe, and it's damn interesting. For example, you had this video, and it basically explains what it feels like to be infected by the Flood. And we're going to play it up in the background. And this is actually crazy, guys. Like, being infected by the Flood is creepy as, I want to say AF, but I don't know if I should drop F-bombs. But it's creepy, man. It's more than just like a typical zombie virus. I mean, tell me about this a bit.
Yeah, the biggest thing about it is that not only is it like physical torture, it's also mental torture. Because when you're getting infected, the Flood essentially probe through like your memories and your mind, your mental being. Because basically when you get infected, any of your memories and all of your knowledge gets assimilated into the Flood hive mind. So it's not like a regular zombie where your body gets assimilated into like the zombie horde. With the Flood, it's literally everything. Like, the more people that get infected, the more knowledge is infected and absorbed, and the more intelligent they get. So it's a horrifying experience. Not only is it absolutely excruciating, as you can see there from a physical standpoint, it's also like horrendous torture from a mental standpoint. It's the worst of the worst.
Yeah, so it's almost like one of two ways. You either instantly get your bones snapped and your like organs like repurposed and whatnot, so you turn into the Flood, or they had the Commander Keyes kind of perspective where like you're trapped and they're just harvesting your memories in your mind. If you're like an important individual, you got a lot of important memories, and then they literally just pull everything out of your head until they're done with you, and then they turn you into a useless minion or whatever it is. Like, look at the husk version too. So I guess if you die and you're in a weak state when you're dying, then you become like the one that the exploding. I should know the names.
The carrier form. Yeah,
the carrier
so
form.
Like, with those any sort of like weak like hosts or any combat forms that are quite old and like a little bit weak now and have sort of like served their purpose, they can also morph into sort of pseudo carrier forms and have infection forms grow in their back. So like they're like bulging out the back and they pop. The Flood are nasty, dude. Like they take the zombie. Like, this is why I love them. I've always loved like anything zombie related, like any movies, games, anything. And like I love the Flood so much because it's like everything you know about a zombie multiplied by like 3 billion. It's so cool.
And it seems like, just from what I gathered from your videos, there's a chance we could see Flood in the next Halo as well. We don't know. We got fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, and that's exactly why I've got you here, because we're going to go through the Halo Infinite Discover Hope trailer. I know you did a huge breakdown on this. You got a 25-minute breakdown. Guys, if you haven't seen it, definitely go check it out. You can make sure to hit the subscribe button as well. Get this guy up to 300,000. But I do want to break down every little bit of it. We're going to do it here as well. So basically kind of just running through it again. You have uncovered details in this trailer that I had never known would have existed, like way more information than you would have thought. Most people are like, they see the trailer, and they're immediately kind of disappointed because there's no gameplay. I know everybody wanted gameplay, and you really just get like another teaser. You see a bit of Chief, you see the broken Halo ring, and it's like, oh, this is cool, but I'm not gaining anything from this. Meanwhile, for you, you're like, your reaction opening the video, you're so excited about it. You're like, this trailer is amazing, and you break down all these details over 25 minutes, and then I'm excited. I'm like, damn, this sounds like a pretty awesome trailer. So let's kick it off. It's going to play in the background. And I have different timestamps that I'm going to try to pull up to like stills so we can kind of move the conversation forward. But let's just start with the opening here, Tony, that you can showcase. So the opening here just showcases our Pelican pilot. What was that?
So when the trailer came out, with the bit where the pilot wipes the fog off the screen,
yeah.
Everyone was green screening it, and that's the intro to Skyrim. Finally, you're awake. People were doing so many funny ones, and I was like, you know what? Like all my infinite videos about this trailer, I'm gonna put a meme at the start of the video and credit someone for it because there were so many good ones that I couldn't afford to miss. So many good ones.
I saw one from you recently where he wipes the screen and it's Master Chief right there. He's like, boo. And he scares him.
Honestly, I think that was the best one. The one from Halo 2 is like, boo, and the pilot falls off and then just the theme song plays so loud.
Yeah, that was amazing. So at the start of the trailer, we've got this new character we don't know much about. You've been calling him Dustin Echoes. I think this is like a long-running joke. What the heck is Dustin Echoes? Can you tell me about that?
So at the end of Halo Combat Evolved, way back, there's a bit where, right at the end, where Chief and Cortana are on that ship, the Longsword, and they think that no one survived. Like, that the Halo's destroyed, but everyone is dead. They're the last human is alive. And Cortana says, there's nothing left. It's just dust and echoes. But the way she says it sounds like there's nothing left. Just dust and echoes. Like, there's this mysterious guy called Dust and Echoes that's, like, out there surviving somehow in the middle of space. And honestly, I think it's been a meme since, like, 2001. It's like the longest running Halo meme. So everyone was like, you know what? This guy is like a pilot or like a marine or something, stranded out in space. Let's call him Dustin Echoes until we know his real name.
What do we actually know about this guy so far? Not too much. He's got a troubled past. Is there anything else kind of glean from him?
We know that he has a family. And that's about it. We know that for now at least his name is the pilot. I mean, I'm assuming they'll reveal his actual name at some point, but for now that's all we know. He's got a family that he misses. When you watch the bit with the family, you can see his beard grow and the camera turns around. So he's been stranded for like quite a while. I actually based off my own beard growth. I stated that like he's probably been there for like maybe 2 months, maybe like a month.
Wow.
I had to have like some sort of point to base it off. Some reference point. Yeah, some reference point. Yeah. So I was like, you know what, based off my own beard growth, he's probably been there for like 2 months. That's it. That's literally all we know about this guy. Pretty good intro for his character though. I'm already loving the guy.
Yeah, that was another big part was you said you just love the character. Like he's kind of very dynamic. You see a lot of sides of his personality just in this short little intro in the trailer. We don't see a lot of that. Like you were saying, just opposed against Halo 5, everything's very like military and professional and there's not too much of a dynamic in personality, but we get a lot from this guy. Like he's very excited to see the Chief get powered up and so really kind of cool intro to this character already. The first timestamp I have though, as far as the conversation here is 3:29. Let's go to that, Tony. You can grab our first timestamp, screen grab. Right. Wait a second. Bam. Right here. So this is our confirmation that this is Zeta Halo. So I'm going to do a little spiel here. Correct me if I'm wrong. There's a series of Halo rings. These rings are weapons of mass destruction made by the Forerunners to wipe out the Flood, but they don't just wipe out the Flood directly. They are designed to wipe out every living thing in the galaxy, and in doing so, removing the Flood as well. So what is Zeta Halo? Is there something important about Zeta Halo in comparison to others?
Massively. So like a long time ago, over 100,000 years ago in the Halo universe, when the Forerunners were like at the peak of their existence, they were like essentially rulers of the galaxy. The Flood pretty much wiped them out. I mean, the Forerunners wiped themselves and the Flood out with the Halos, but the Flood were like at the strongest they'd ever been. They consumed like the entire galaxies. They consumed entire species, and it was basically like they were as close to consuming the entirety of reality as they were ever going to get. And during this time, basically the Forerunners created this AI called Mendicant Bias that was designed specifically to control the Forerunner like spaceship fleets against the Flood. It was like hyper intelligent, the most intelligent AI to ever exist. like
Right.
so intelligent that it had like its own sort of category of AI created specifically for it called Contender Class.
Okay.
And like long story short, the Mendicant Bias ends up getting corrupted by the Flood and joins the Flood. So in response to that, the Forerunners then make a guy called, or an AI called Offensive Bias that is, like I always say in the video, is the sort of yin to Mendicant Bias's yang. They're
Right.
like they're designed one and one and the same, but Offensive Bias was designed like purely to take out take out Mendicant Bias. I'm mixing everything up there. Yeah, and essentially the two like war it out. Although Mendicant Bias like outnumbers Offensive Bias, like I think the number is like 3 million ships to like 10,000. Offensive Bias still wins, and then
Wow.
they end like it basically wins and holds the Flood off for long enough for the Forerunners to fire the entire Halo array. And okay, let me get off the point. Why this is important for Zeta?
For
Halo.
Zeta Halo, yeah, that's what I'm trying to figure
Yeah.
out.
So Zeta Halo is actually the location where Mendicant Bias corrupted to the Flood.
Okay.
It's also where the Flood are a lot of deep lore here. The Flood
Yeah,
are
let's get
actually the corrupted version of these ancient like godlike creatures called the Precursors that created all life in the galaxy, like humans, elites, grunts. They created everything in the galaxy. They're sort of like got his name, like eldritch creatures, kind of, like really hard to sort of perceive. And they essentially got wiped out by the Forerunners when they came back, and they corrupted into the Flood. And the last living precursor that was also like half grave mined was captured by the Forerunners on Zeta Halo. And Mendicant Bias, when he was still with the Forerunners, was sent to sort of like interrogate this creature and learn like everything about the Flood, how to defeat them. And this interrogation lasted like 43 years, I think it was. 43 years. And over those 43 years, he got given this thing called the Logic Plague, which is essentially it's the closest thing I can describe it as is a digital version of the Flood infection. It's like basically, like, you know, in the Matrix, you get when
Like a virus of some sort.
kind of, it's like the red pill in the Matrix, basically. Like you get to see, like you
Right,
see
right,
reality. He's given the red pill about the Flood. He's given the reality of the Flood, how horrific they are, how unstoppable they are, and he essentially just like ups and converts to the Flood. And that all happens on Zeta Halo. There was also some other stuff on Zeta Halo with a Foreigner who go like a living Foreigner who goes like kind of corrupt and starts experimenting on ancient humans on Zeta Halo to find a cure for the Flood.
Is that where you got the Promethean Knights from? The experiment, sort of, or no?
Yeah. So the Knights are like
They're
composed
from-
versions of ancient humans.
From the composer. Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I've got like a list
That's
of
fine.
shit.
It's fine. I'm forgetting some of it now as well. It's there's a lot to remember. But yeah, basically, there's this place called the Palace of Pain on Zeta Halo, which was a Flood research facility, like the library from CE, which is where all these like really horrific experiments went on, where they like torture ancient humans, like pull out their souls essentially, like really, really horrific stuff that all went on Zeta Halo, and it's all related to the Flood. So like there is so much, like if 343 ever wanted to bring the Flood back into
It's
the
the
main
best
story,
way. Yeah.
there is literally there could not be a better location for the game than Zeta Halo. It's the peak of locations for it.
They can't not know what they're doing by saying that this is on Zeta Halo. There's too much significance on Zeta Halo. So like that's kind of the beauty of just revealing that it's Zeta Halo in that trailer, and then you being able to extrapolate that for just all of this history that's there. It's just that's pretty incredible. So we might see some. We don't have any confirmation of anything, but there's a lot of reference to the Flood here, and there's some really cool iconic locations like the Palace of Pain or whatever. I wonder if that would ever have some sort of significance in the plot of the next game. But
if we go to Zeta Halo and the Flood are in the game and we don't go to the Palace of Pain, I'm quitting Halo. I'm done with Halo. Like it's too perfect of a. It synergizes way too much.
Yeah. All right. Let's jump to our next timestamp. We have a look at the Chief at 5 minutes. Here he is in his beautiful form here. And I liked your explanation. You said that it was kind of like a combination of package armor. Let's showcase the package armor image that we have as well. Tony, there it is. So that's package armor. Where's that come from exactly?
So that's from Halo Legends, which was like a series of like animated shorts. And one of the short animated things in that was called the package, which was basically a bunch of Spartan 2s raiding a Covenant ship to rescue Dr. Halsey. And that was the armor that he had in that. And everyone thought it was kind of weird because it was meant to be wearing Mark IV when it took place, but it wasn't really Mark IV. It was sort of like a weird sort of armor. Some people love it, some people hate it. I personally love it. And I mean, it's very clearly influenced 343's design decision with Infinite, I think.
Definitely. You said you weren't a huge fan of the 117, though. That seems to be consistent across the both of them as well.
Yeah. It just looks a bit too like out there, a bit too like bold and screaming at you. I preferred one of the things that I did really love about 343's take on Chief was that he had 117 in Braille on his chest plate.
Oh,
which was, I loved that. I kind of wish that was back, but I'm not, like I said in the video, like I'm not the biggest fan of the 117, but like exactly, I'm not going to sit here complaining. The armor is absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, and as far as his condition, when we meet the Chief here, like he's alive, I guess, but he's like not active, right? His suit's like shut down in some sort of survival mode, and you connected that to a point in Halo 3 as well. You kind of had some theories on what was going on with his armor outside when he's floating in the in space. Yeah, it links to Halo 3 and also Reach. So at the start of Halo 3, when Chief falls from the key ship and he's like locked like that. And yeah, Tony, it's in the video there. I don't know if you're able to go back to it. It's right after they show the armor. He shows like the locked up version of Halo 3. But anyway, you can continue.
Yeah, and also at the start of the final mission of Halo Reach as well, when Noble Six and Emil jump out the Pelican, they lock their armor there as well. It's basically like a system inside the Mjolnir armor that stops you from like shattering bones if you fall from large heights. Because essentially it damages the suit, but the suit, because it's like locked in place, it sponges most of the damage of the fall. So like, my theory was that whatever destroyed,
there it is.
What I hope is Zeta Halo, whether it was like an explosion or something. My theory was that like as that explosion went off, Chief like locked his armor, and that's why he was floating through space like in a quite a rigid position. And then when the pilot sort of like turns it back on, it reinitiates it, turns off the armor lock, and then he can move around again.
Okay, don't say armor lock ever again. Just for that. You have until you said that.
I understand that one. That word, those two words.
Lock, and then all the fans in the chat.
You just see that blue effect. Oh no!
What, the armor lock effect? Are you fucking kidding? Anyway. So yeah, speaking of him powering back on, if you go to 702, the timestamp. So here we have tons of really interesting information and just a couple seconds of code here. Crazy that you're able to find this. But so just some of the info that I've written down from your video is the armor is brand new. It's created by the Materials Group on the 10th of February in 2559, which is 3 months after the events of Halo 5, and then later modified by Halsey September 19th, 2561, which is actually over a year following the Halo Infinite trailer that we received last year. So the teaser that we got last year of just the world Halo Infinite, this is over a year after that there was a modification to this armor. So there's a bit of a timeline. It's Gen 3 as well.
Yeah. That is actually really interesting. I do want to say real quick, I didn't find many of these details. It was a bunch of like really great guys in the Halo lore community that found them, like Halo Cannon, CIA 391, who runs Halopedia or helps run it, and a bunch of other guys. But there's some really cool stuff in there. So like you just said, the armor was created about roughly 3 months after the end of Halo 5, roughly here or there, which is interesting because obviously a lot happens in that time period. And then
weirdly, too.
Exactly. Beard length.
A hell of a beard in 3 months. I don't know where I'm going. But
then the more interesting thing is that there's clearly been a lot happen because there you go. Masters found the original date from the original trailer, which was May 2560. So considering his armor, or his BIOS in his armor that we're looking at there, was modified in, I think it was September 2561, that's like almost a year and a half after the original Infinite trailer that Chief got another modification to his armor. So like there's a lot that's happened here. Like a significant amount has happened between Halo 5 and this. I mean, I think that's pretty evident from the rest of the trailer, but this just sums it up perfectly.
Yeah, really interesting. There's a time gap there, and a lot that's going to be needs to be explained as well. And what we know is apparently this trailer is the opening cinematic to the next Halo game, so they're going to have to find some interesting way, I guess, to explain it around that. We'll see how that works. But then the next timestamp I have is 820, and we could jump to that. You identified, or maybe I'm not sure what you did or your you got a little team here, but System Peril Distributed Reflex. It's a SPDR, which is a reference to something called I Love Bees, an old campaign for Halo 2. What is that? I have no idea what I Love Bees is, so start there.
Yeah, so it was CIA 391 of Halopedia who found this and let me know, because I would not have noticed that never in a million years. So yeah, basically the only time SPDR has ever been mentioned before, ever in Halo, is in the Halo 2 viral marketing campaign in 2004. That was probably the weirdest piece of Halo lore out there. It's based in the modern day and also in the future. It's really, really weird. It involved people pretending to be foreign cult worshippers in Times Square in New York. Dude, it's strange. The Bungie had this thing where they had people go Times Square in New York, middle of the day when it was super busy, and hold these massive placards about the ancients and with loads of foreigner glyphs on them, and they're basically foreigner cult worshippers, and it's chanting about foreigners and stuff. It was weird. They had people traveling across the country to go to cell phone booths in random back alleys to answer phone calls from ancient UNSC and ONI operatives from the future. It was weird, really, really, really weird. Which is why I was in the video. I'm genuinely just blown away that of all the things, if you would have asked me before the trailer, if I could guess one thing that would absolutely not ever in a million years be mentioned in a Halo Infinite trailer, it would have been SPDR. And the madmen went and did it. The fact that was referenced is nuts. But what it is basically, it's sort of from what I can gather, it's a code or a script that is used to heal or repair AIs that can't repair themselves. So if they're internal repair systems are damaged or something, then you use SPDR to then heal them, which, I mean, with Halo 5's story leading into Infinite, has some pretty clear implications.
It's perfect. Yeah. I mean, Cortana is kind of the big focal point here. She was rampant. She's the I guess the main enemy in Halo 5. I didn't follow too much of the Halo 5 story, but as far as this SPDR, as far as SPDR goes, I guess this is some sort of an initiative to repair her AI. Does that mean that that's within his system? So she would have to get her on a chip and put her in his armor or something?
Well, my theory, and also quite a lot of people's right now, the sort of running theory is that when Chief gets the AI chip and puts it in his head, it says weapon containment device. So my theory is that basically the device is an SPDR trap, like I call it in the video. So the AI chip has SPDR in it. So if he can then get Cortana into the chip, the SPDR will then cure her, and then it'll also update her to that serial number there, which is sort of an updated version of Cortana. So
I'm talking about that too. Not to interrupt you there, because I had that coming up in 1 second. Just one more timestamp before we get there. 10:18, Tony. There's a couple more little tidbits in there where you found out that they're not necessarily abilities in Halo, but there was a bunch of different acronyms. What do we got? So there's system power, and then what's LFS? And then visor.
Life support.
Life support, visor. I don't know how you guys identify what these three letters would mean for each of them. And then you've got something like weapon, ability, and run, and you're please don't be sprint or whatever.
Halo kind of saw these, and I was oh no, please don't be sprint. So these, I'm pretty sure these are sort of elements of his BIOS. So what this screen is like with a computer, how you have a BIOS that sort of runs in the background of all the operating systems. That's Chief's BIOS for his armor. That's sort of booting up. And what I think all these are sort of elements of his BIOS. So the parts of the coding inside his armor that control his weapons, and recoil and stuff. The parts that control his armor abilities if he has them. The parts that control his visor, his everything else. The three that worried me were, or the two that worried me were abilities and run. Abilities and run. So like Spartan abilities or armor abilities or whatever, and then run for sprint. So that, in the video, I was like, please don't be sprint. Please don't be sprint.
Yeah. So we don't know what that is just yet, but really interesting that you're able to kind of, you grab these like 3-letter acronyms and just identify that this is, part of his system boot up. This is like, allowing him to hold his weapons, use his weapons and whatnot. So
yeah,
really
people are very good at hiding Easter eggs. Like they're good at Easter eggs.
They were hiding Xbox Live codes in there too. I didn't really plan on talking about it too much, but they're obviously all used by now. But within that BIOS, there's like Xbox Live codes for like Game Pass or something.
Yeah, there were like
funny.
20 or 30 Game Pass codes like hidden in there. Like, there for like three
Probably
free.
Game Pass Ultimate too, considering like everybody's. Yeah, that would have been actually a really smart little campaign there. But yeah, so the next timestamp is about the chip. So if you go to 1206, we've got the serial number on the AI chip, and it's so the original Cortana one is CTN0452-9. This new chip is CTN0453-0. So it's one step above the 452-9. So the kind of idea here is that this is like an updated version of Cortana's chip designed by Halsey purely to defeat evil Cortana. And then you freaked out because you're like, this mirrors the offensive bias being created, destroying Mendicant bias at the end of the Forerunner Flood War. So tell me a bit about this.
Yeah, so that theory about offensive bias and Mendicant bias, I made a video 3 years ago about that theory, like literally word for word what I said in that video. Like I said it like 3 years ago, like what if like a new AI gets created, or instead Roland, who is the UNSC Infinity's AI, gets used as sort of like an offensive bias to match Cortana. And I mean, you never know. It could be. I'm hoping it would, because that, given that we're on Zeta Halo and everything, like it would, the mirrors, like everything falls into place too well, in my opinion. It seems that the pieces of the puzzle seem to just slot in way too easily. This could be just a coincidence.
Yeah. And it's interesting because there's no AI in the chip when he's got it in his hand, but then the other trailers you see, there's clearly an AI that he puts in the back of his head. So we don't really know what to do with this info yet. Like there's supposed to be some sort of a AI. We don't know if it's, I guess, this updated version, like you said. So a lot of speculation going around, but really cool that like all of this is present just from these little like hints in the trailer. I got another timestamp here at 1424. Where the voiceover here says we lost everything. There's nothing else for us here. You had all these theories that you were crafting about how this Zeta Halo ring was destroyed. One of them was about the UNSC Infinity crash landing into it. Tell me a bit about this ring here.
Yeah, the theory about the Infinity crashing into it. I love that theory so much because as much as I like the Infinity, it's been in Halo's lore. It's sort of been like really overpowered, and it's made the UNSC feel not very grounded in a sense, in a way that like in the original Halo trilogy, the UNSC were quite grounded. They were, in Halo 3, they were still using World War II bases, whereas like now they've got this ship that can ram straight through a Covenant cruiser, and it's like, it's not very grounded. So if the Infinity like were to go down, what better way to do it would there be to do it than to literally plow into a Halo ring and like smash it to pieces? Like that would be one hell of a way to send the Infinity out.
Yeah. And yeah, so for those who don't know, the UNSC Infinity is like their mega ship, right? It's their big flagship. Command center flagship. Yeah. And yeah, so it's been so powerful in Halo 4 and Halo 5. By destroying it, it does put them back on the back foot. And you have a very interesting kind of dynamic coming into the next story, something that harkens back to the original trilogy, which is all more of what we want as, as far as the feeling of Halo, that iconic feeling of classic Halo getting it back. So that's really cool too. Speaking of iconic, I got one more. It's 1651. Is the final cutscene and how this mirrors the Halo 1 cutscene. I love that. That's beautiful, man. Talk to me about this too.
I love this cutscene so much. The music in it is perfect.
Yes.
Cortana's dialogue is like, so good. This honestly, I honestly think that this bit right here might be my favorite part of the entire trailer. Because it gives us such a hint at the story, and it also harkens back to like everything that we always loved. There was another emphasis on the beam emitters that 343 have like made a point, and they've literally said like, we're making a point about these beam emitters, and I mean we're literally in one right now. It's so cool. Like this cutscene in general, seeing it mirror Combat Evolved like that. I'm a sucker for references when like games or movies or books reference something that happened in like an older one. For some reason I love it when they do that.
Yeah.
And so seeing this is like. I love it. I love it so much. The parallel is so nice to watch.
So for something that was so small and seemingly insignificant for people who don't really understand Halo lore or story, when you actually dive into it, there's a lot in this one trailer, and it says a lot, and it's kind of almost perfect in its way, in its intentions, right? And just kind of reveals what it needs to, and enough for you to kind of get excited for the future. I mean, seeing this, are you optimistic about the future of the franchise now? How do you feel about where it's headed?
Very optimistic. My only worry with Infinite so far is that like everything that we've seen so far, literally like 100% of what we've got so far, I'm absolutely on board with.
Yeah.
The issue is we've barely had anything, so what little we have had, I love, but like, come on,
still
shows the good stuff. I'm still extremely worried about the gameplay. I'm still worried about like replayability as well, because Halo 4 and Halo 5 had like no replayability for me. I'm begging for like a huge sense of replayability to come back. And what we've seen so far, if what we've seen so far is going to be representative of every aspect of the game, then I am excited and then some.
Yeah, I think just first of all, the one thing that's like universally appreciated that people want to see is just bringing back that classic art style, the sounds, everything that made you feel the way that you felt with the classic Halo titles, and that's what they've done with the trailer. That's amazing. As far as gameplay goes, I think in the campaign side of things, that needs a major upgrade. So it's great to see that we might be getting that going on in the future of Halo. The campaign, it's always been a focal point. It needs a massive upgrade. So it's good that you're excited about that. As far as the multiplayer goes, up in the air. I have no idea where it's going to go. I'm not too I'm more optimistic, and I'm just down to play kind of whatever it is. I'm not too on like one side or the other. But it's great to see that the areas that are critical, that need to be improved, like the look, the feel of the game, the story of the game, that's gaining the focus that it deserves. So that's very exciting. And that's all the questions that I had for you, man. Honestly, thank you so much. What I'm going to do now is see what the chat has to say, because we always have our Q&A with the chat. We've got some questions coming in here. Guys, remember to drop your questions. Tony will grab them, and we'll ask him on the show and see what HiddenXperia thinks. The first question, Shadow Demon, 1996. Are you coming to Halo Outpost Discovery Chicago?
I am indeed. We're there for all 3 days, and I'm over the moon excited for it. I can't wait.
Go.
I can't wait. I've been purposely avoiding this, any spoilers for it. Like, everyone was posting pictures on Twitter of like Orlando. I avoided them like the plague. Like, I want to go into it as blind as possible and just experience everything for the first time in person. I can't wait for it. From what I've heard, aside from the queue times, everything is really good. So I'm super excited. I can't wait.
Yeah, it looks sick, man. I'm jealous. Being in Toronto, Canada, I wish you would just come to Canada, but I mean, it's not that far, but I can't.
Fingers crossed in the future.
Yeah. Hopefully it happens. More of this stuff, continues to happen. Tony Rocks. My question is, why are there not any female Covenant? Ooh.
There are.
Are there?
They're just not in the games. There's quite a lot of relatively important female elites. Like there's one. Her name is Paul Duran. That was in a story written by Joe Staten, who wrote like all the original Halo games. Came out a few years ago. If you remember the shipmaster, Artas Badum from Halo 2 and Halo 3, he basically got sent to hunt down like loads of prophets with this female elite, and she's like a super badass. She's a really cool character. There was also in Halo 5, very briefly, but there was a female elite in that she wasn't that like she was like basically she commanded like some banshees and some like liches and stuff in aerial combat. Like she was cool, but she wasn't in it much. As opposed to we've had female Grinners. I'm trying to remember the names. I know for a fact we've had female Grinners.
I didn't even consider that they're different genders of these species. I should have. But
female in the Jackal Society, females are like, it's a matriarchal society. Females rule. So like most of the commanders on ships are ship mistresses, Jackal ship mistresses. It's a matriarchal society, so it's like flip the other side around. It's cool. It's really interesting. Like that's one of the best things about Halo. There's so many like weird like aspects of the species that are so different to what we experience in like most sci-fi universes. It makes it stand out really nicely. As for female hunters, I couldn't tell you because the hunters are like obviously individual worms, and as far as I'm aware, they don't actually have genders. I don't think. I can't remember exactly for hunters, but there are female jackals, there are female grunts, there are female elites.
Yeah, you don't want to get on a female hunter's bad side, that's for sure.
No.
Sounds very scary.
That's gonna end bad.
Yeah, but it just kind of like showcases how insanely large the universe is in Halo. Like there's just so many novels dedicated to it that explain all this stuff. Like that, all the information, like half the stuff that you were saying, I think that like what was that Elite from Halo 2 to 3? Like I didn't know what that was off the top.
Oh, he's
top of
got
my head.
a
I'm
super
like,
cool.
oh my god, there's tons of He's
got a super cool backstory, like linking to the Flood. Like he's like one of the most seasoned Flood veterans in the Covenant. That's why in Halo 2, when you go to like the Flood facility, it's just like that's that scent. I smelt it before.
You're supposed to hunt him as the Arbiter. Is that the guy?
No.
He's somebody else.
The Elite with the white armor with half his mandibles missing.
Yeah. Okay. I remember the look of the character. Yeah.
He's like a full-on seasoned Flood veteran. Like really cool character.
Okay, John Fight, do you have a favorite story or book about Blue Team, like Fall of Reach or Ghost of Onyx, etc.? What's your favorite, or who's your favorite Blue Team member?
I love Ghost of Onyx, but Fall of Reach, it has to be. That was the first Halo book that I ever read. It was the first exposure to Blue Team that I ever had, so it has to be Fall of Reach. I remember probably Fred or Linda. Oh, something went to my eye. Yeah, Linda or Fred, because I've always been a sucker for snipers. So Linda is cool as hell, but also Fred is like the knife expert of Blue Team, and he does some really cool stuff with knives in like the expanded universe, and I love that as well. But yeah, it's a toss up between Linda and Fred. But then again, Kelly is also British or has a British accent. I kind of have to feel some level of association with her as well. But yeah, Linda or Fred.
I found it, like, not to be offensive to any of these Blue Team guys, but I found it so hard to give a shit about anybody on Blue Team during the Halo 5 campaign. Like, none of these characters get any backstory or justice from what I saw, unless you're, like, actually spending time.
No, you're right.
Yeah.
That's the annoying thing. Like, people like me have been waiting for years to see them in a game, and the one chance they get is blown completely. Like you wouldn't, like, the whole thing with Fred and his knives, you wouldn't have any idea about that from Halo 5.
No idea.
No clue. And what sucks as well is there's actually some really cool concept art from Halo 5 of Fred with like the hood that Master Chief had in that Halo 5 trailer, where it had like the poncho and the hood. Some concept art of Fred with like the poncho and this massive knife on his arm, and it is like the coolest looking concept art I think I've ever seen in Halo, but it just didn't make it into the game for whatever reason.
And I mean, I can imagine it's very hard to tell all those stories in a video game as well, though. Like, I can kind of understand when you include so many characters. Like, you have Blue Team, and then you have the other team with Osiris or Locke or whatever. Yeah, and then it's like, how do you explain, the backstories of all, like, 8 individuals and Master Chief? So I know even with the next game, the focus is Chief, so that even there it's going to be hard to give more backstory to these new included characters. Like, we just want more Chief for the most part, and that's the easier one to grasp onto, but...
That's the issue with Halo 5. I think I worked out a few years ago, Halo 5 had like 14 main characters. Like,
there's so many new characters.
In a game with 15 missions, you cannot possibly ever expect to flesh out 14 characters. Like, you can't do that. They bit off a lot more than they could chew with Halo 5, I think.
Right. Well, Alex says, why doesn't HiddenXperia stream on Twitch.tv?
I do, just very sporadically. I want to get back into it more, though, because, like, obviously, I play a lot of games. I don't just play Halo. I play a lot of games outside of Halo. And I love streaming. As tiring as I find it sometimes, I love it. For some reason, streaming makes me really sleepy. I don't know why. But I love doing it anyway. But I can't stream any of these games on my channel because it's just Halo, and I don't want to, like, not scare people off. But you know what I mean. I don't want to, like,
I understand.
People think that I'm posting other stuff now. So yeah, I need to get back into it soon. I actually last week had a talk with somebody who was like, you need to go full into Twitch alongside YouTube. And I was like, you know what? I do. So watch this space. Yeah,
I could see that too. And I mean, like, you do just the voiceover commentary for the most part, but man, you've got a great personality on this show here. Like, I could see you on like a green screen or a webcam, and you'll just talk. Like, they'll just ask you questions and you'll go. I can imagine that would make you tired, though. It's the combination of like gaming, focusing, trying to play well, and then answering questions at the same time. Like, it does take a lot out of you after a few hours, but
it does,
you should get into it, like, for sure.
I mean, I've done Twitch quite a few times before, and I love it. So I don't know why I'm not doing it.
So we have Save K Slayer. Have you read all of the official books and comics?
Nope, I have not, because it's near impossible to catch up. Yeah, there's a lot to read. A lot of the recent ones I haven't read because like I'm a really slow reader, like really slow. And
it's the
like
audiobooks.
I try that, but then I audiobooks like I can't concentrate properly. I enjoy reading. I'm just a super slow reader. So like the last one I finished was Bad Blood. The one that followed on from New Blood with like Book and Alpha 9 from ODST. Anything before that, I've read about half of Retribution. I think it was Retribution, the one that I won't spoil it, but brought back a fan favorite character who's not been in Halo for quite a while. Brought him back. I read about half of that, and also I read Halo Envoy a few years ago as well. But comics, I think I am actually with comics. Yeah, I'm up to date with comics, but not books because it's like even as someone like me who does it full time, it's difficult. Like it's hard to keep up. Yeah, at some point I'm gonna catch up. Like I keep saying to myself, I'm gonna catch up. I'm gonna like grind through them all. But like I said to you before the show, I've recently been rereading a load of the old ones that like I've been rereading Contact Harvest recently, which is like the introduction to Sergeant Johnson, basically. It's like the backstory of Johnson.
Oh, nice.
The last time I read that book was probably 2008, and I'd forgotten like aside from sort of like the general parts of the story, I'd forgotten like pretty much all the details. So I'm rereading that to sort of like jog my memory. I want to reread Fall of Reach as well, which is the first one ever. Because again, I remember like the general details and like the ending, but the other stuff I just can't remember because, God, I read that book in like 2004. I was like, God, I was like 7 or 8 when I read that book, so I need to jog my memory a little bit.
Fall of Reach was the only book I attempted to read, and I got through about half of it. And I still remember the half that I read, though, because it was all about the experimentation process and the training program that they had to go through, and that was actually really interesting. And I remember they would describe in detail. He was in like a boxing ring at some point or something, and people tried to fight him. And he had his newly discovered powers, and he just destroyed everything. He beat the shit out of them, and they had explained it in detail about like breaking their bones and shit. And like
he literally kills through ODSTs.
Yeah, I think he kills. Yeah, so it's like. Yeah, some crazy stuff, but really, really interesting origin story. And of course, you explained that in your videos as well, just what the process they go through. And I saw it was one of your better videos was the creepiest stories in Halo lore. And I think it was one of the first stories was just kind of the experience that the Spartans had to go through, being pulled from their homes, replaced with clones that then die a couple years later. And then they get like put through tests and stuff.
It's rough. The whole thing's like crazy. Like when Fall of Reach came out, that came out, I think it was 6 or 7 months before Halo Combat Evolved. So like it came out before the game even came out. So when people read that and then played the game, they saw the badass like perception of Chief. They were like, damn, this guy's like, he's a child soldier. This guy's a child soldier. Crazy.
Searing Blaze 88. What are the features that Halo Infinite needs to have at launch?
At launch, literally everything that Halo 3 and everything that Halo Reach had at launch. With Halo 3, with a ranking system that isn't Reach's, please. Pretty much everything that game had at launch, and then more. Because since then, it's just been regression after regression, and like we can't do that again. Like Infinite has a real shot at like propelling Halo back to. I do think it could hit Halo 3 numbers again, but I'm not gonna like oversell it or anything or like overhype myself. Halo could get really big again with Infinite, with MCC on PC leading up to it, and Infinite, it could get really big again. And the key to that is absolutely nailing the launch. The launch has to be perfect. Like, I'm asking a lot, but it has to be literally perfect. Like, if the launch for that game has everything in it that people want, Forge, Customs, Theater, Campaign Theater, full armor customization, little to no microtransactions, which is asking a lot nowadays, but I'm still going to ask for it.
You can do them in a good way, though. There's a positive way to include it that also feeds into the esports side and helps grow the game. So there's a good way to do it. And they've kind of set a decent precedent with Halo 5, and they could just kind of refine that, hopefully, and have something good for Infinite.
Yeah, they need to take the Titanfall 2 approach. I mean, personally, I would actually be a massive fan if they took the Counter-Strike approach and have like an actual in-game economy. Like I'm a sucker for CS, have been for a while, and like the whole economy they've got in that with like some knives that are worth like $8,000, like that's cool.
Yeah,
That's
it is
really,
pretty cool.
really cool. Like,
Yeah.
imagine like, I don't know, imagine like a helmet in game that was all like, maybe a helmet's too much, like a BR skin that was worth like $3,000.
Something
Imagine
that
how
you
cool that'd be.
can wield and see too, right? Like
Yeah.
not just what the enemy sees. So yeah, usually the skin on the weapon or something. But yeah, like you said.
Yeah, something like that. I'd love the CS approach, honestly. Maybe like chill on the loot crates a little bit, but like something like the Counter-Strike approach, or
Yeah.
failing that, the Titanfall 2 approach, and also the Gears of War 5 approach, which is pretty much the Titanfall 2 approach as well, where there's no loot crates, no RNG at all. You just
Yeah.
go to a store, you see something, you want to buy it, you buy it. That's it.
Right.
But yeah.
I like that approach from Gears 5. They've kind of figured out, because the crates in Gears 5 were a total pain in the ass. They take forever to open. It's just like I completely ignore it, and it just piles up, and I'm like, oh, like I don't want to deal with it. Yeah. So I think that's one of the biggest things, is just kind of the complete package that we would get from Halo 3, from Halo Reach, getting that back, right? We have these expectations because it was just such an amazing, such a full game, just full of just so much amazing content. So getting that.
How well we have it.
Yeah, the issue is that they want that, but at the same time they're trying to always bring some new big mode, like this big war mode or whatever it is, and now Battle Royale is the big feature and focus for popular games. So how can they preserve the complete package aspect of like Halo 3, Halo Reach, and add their new big mode? It's a lot to kind of put into one package.
Yeah.
Hopefully
I was gonna say as well. Sorry to cut you off. I was gonna say as well as the complete package thing. Like the complete package has to be there, but also something new, something like. I mean, Warzone. They had the right idea. I don't personally think the execution was particularly like there, but they had the right idea with it. Something like a Battlefield type mode would be so sick, like 64 versus 64, like humans versus Covenant, massive armies, vehicles, infantry, like bring in like phantoms and like seraphs and stuff like that. Would be cool as hell. Something like that, like something that with put it, something that is super content creator easy. Like there's a reason Battlefield, despite the game is becoming fairly unpopular, still has a lot of big YouTubers. Like there's a reason for that. Like if you create like a sandbox or like a mode as big as that, where content creation, like loads of different avenues of content creation is possible, then you're gonna have a whale of a time. It's gonna be super popular. So a full package and also something new that grabs the eyes of like everyone and also content creators, like primarily.
Yeah, last week Sims had a great point about this. It's just grabbing the best bits of Big Team Battle, what makes Big Team Battle so amazing, and the things that they did right about Warzone, and kind of putting them together in some sort of a big like war mode. And that would be so authentically Halo too. Because like just going back and if you saw the HCS Invitational when we did the Big Team Battle showcase, I don't know if you got a chance to see that. That was so sick. And like I'm playing in it too. To be playing it was amazing, but just the whole experience of it, I'm like, damn, like only Halo could do something like this with the vehicles and the way that they play in multiplayer, and just the frantic kind of frenzy of like just everything that goes on, within that. So having that, but on a grand scale, would be just unbelievable. And like only Halo with the universe could pull something like that off. So
it's so suited for it. Like bringing the weapon, like one of the things I did love about Warzone was the weapon and vehicle variants. Bring those into it, like have those as on-map pickups or something. Like Halo's so well suited to like a huge mode. Like there's seamless transition to vehicles, good vehicle combat, good aerial combat, good infantry combat. It's
seamless transition to vehicles, dude. That's gonna be so sick if you're like weaving one into the other and like just like see some like badass like mid-air sequences and shit.
Like a Banshee flies over like a falcon or something. The guy like flips to the Banshee, jumps out, lands on a falcon, jacks it, and then
that was always the coolest thing that I wanted to do but could never land. And then you see it on YouTube and you're like, oh shit.
Yeah. It's like Halo's version of that thing in Battlefield where people fly jets into the sky, jump out, RPG another jet, and get back in and fly off. It's like Halo's version of that. Super clippable and like super viral content like that is cool.
So Jerry has feels. Do you think that Halo Wars 2 was vital for Infinite to return to a more classic art style?
Yeah, honestly, yes, I do. I think Halo Wars 2 sort of tested the water for that, because the art style for that, people say it was like 50-50 modern and 50-50 like classic. I'd say about 70-30 classic, honestly. But it was testing the waters to see how people would like people saying on Twitter, like, I want the classic art style back is one thing, but actually putting it in a game and seeing how the game is received is another thing. And seeing like the general reception to the classic art style for that game. Like people enjoyed the game and all that, but honestly, I think one of the things that people praised the most about it was the art style, because it was a return to like the more Bungie-esque classic art style, where the military stuff felt genuinely like grounded, like the weaponry and the gear mostly felt like things that you kind of could see on a battlefield today, and that people missed that, and that was one of the things that people loved so much about Halo Wars 2. So that's a good point, and I really do think that it was vital for Infinite returning to like a properly classic art style, or a mostly classic art style.
Yeah, interesting. I didn't know that. Jermaine17, do you think that Halo Infinite could save Halo?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely, it could.
Yeah.
Yeah, go on.
No, it's your question for you. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, yeah, it could. Like I said earlier, what we've seen so far, granted we've seen very little, but what we've seen so far is very, very promising. Like, they're giving us everything that we asked for, but like more. Like the art style stuff, for example. Like, we always ask for the like classic art style back, but the one thing we never even dreamed of asking for, because we knew it would never happen, was for like a classic Chief Armor to come back. They went the extra mile, and we have a classic art style with a classic Chief design. So like, everything so far is great. In my opinion, it comes down to the gameplay and the features and how it launches. I mean, like we just said, if it launches like empty and bare bones, then I don't think it'll bring Halo back. But if it launches, like, even if it has like sprint and stuff, which I'm not a fan of, but if it has sprint and stuff, but launches as a full package with loads of content, loads of stuff to do, loads of things to grind for, that's like like grindy but not too grindy. Like a nice, a satisfying grind, good ranking system, enjoyable campaign, replayability, then personally, I mean, I might be wrong, but I think that we'll be golden if we get that.
Yeah. And I just think with today's gaming industry, like, something can go from irrelevant to absolutely massive in just a couple days. like if the game is done right, and even if there are little mistakes, if 343 has, if their new engine is positioned in such a way that they can update it or change it or fix it, just keep the experience going and the fun going, then the big players and streamers play it, and the game becomes a pop culture trend in seconds. Like, especially because it's accessible now. The most difficult thing for the Halo franchise's success is just the fact that it's limited to Xbox, and Xbox One, especially if you look at all the consoles, is the weakest of the three consoles in popularity. So having it on Steam, on PC from day one, I just think like the accessibility of the titles there, the popular players, it has so much brand recognition. We know what Halo is. Everybody knows what Halo is. Just if it's done right, it will blow up so quickly. And that's kind of the beautiful thing about it. So hopefully the stars align, and that's what we get.
Well, like, you look at a bunch of games like Counter-Strike, like CSGO died in 2013. It was basically dead. And then you look at it now, it's like the king of esports. You look at like Rainbow Six Siege, also died. Now
it started dead, and then it came out of nowhere.
Yeah, like for another Ubisoft game as well, For Honor, that died. Now it's huge again. Like,
no way.
There's potential. It's massive. There are some huge YouTubers. Yeah,
there are 10 minutes of that, and I was like, I'm done with this. I can't even get through the tutorial. I was like,
dude, people love it now. Like, Ubisoft have gone to work on that game, and like it's really popular again now. So like the potential for games to like come out of nowhere and blow up. I mean, obviously the biggest example is Fortnite. It was like kind of dead. They released a battle royale mode, and then
it was dead for years. That's the perfect example. It was like made for it was like a zombie tower defense. That's what it was. Like for 2 years or something from Epic Games. Nobody had heard of it or cared about it, and then they switch it to battle royale, and just insane. Blows up.
Yeah.
Pikachu 407. Do you think that Artus V Dam will return in Infinite? Did I say that right?
Artas Vadum. The guy with half his mandibles missing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Do I think he will do?
Will he return? And
maybe. I would like. I would be over the moon. Like, out of all the characters that I want to return, he's number one.
Right.
I love that character so much, so much. Like, I wish he'd return. I don't know. Maybe not. If the Arbiter's in the game, which again, fingers crossed. Maybe. If not, then probably not. But a man can dream. A man can dream.
Well, we got Zeta Halo, so I mean, how much more?
We got Zeta Halo and FPDR. At this point, like, anything can be in the game.
Anything. Yeah. So last question here, Oliver Ford, my bad, dude. What's your favorite UNSC ship?
UNSC ship. See, this is the issue. Ships are the one thing in Halo's lore that I'm like not that into. If I had to pick any ship, I'd go for the Pillar of Autumn. It's just iconic.
Classic.
Like, you can't not love the Pillar of Autumn.
Yeah.
As much as I was against the Infinity earlier, the Infinity is a cool ship. The fact that it can literally plow through a Covenant cruiser is cool. Like, I'm not gonna say that isn't badass. And also, I mean, like, Fordham's Dawn was cool. The Savannah in Reach was cool as well. The Gettysburg, which is from Fall of Reach, and also First Strike, which at one point at least was like a hybrid human Covenant ship. That was really cool as well. But I feel like I have to go with the Pillar of Autumn. I just have to. I can't not say Pillar of Autumn.
It's iconic. That's probably why.
It is an iconic ship. I can't disagree with that.
Yeah. Well, that's everything. That's all the questions, man. This was an awesome chat, dude. Thank you so much. I have learned so much about Halo lore from the moment I got up this morning, just watching your videos, and then our conversation. I'm excited about the campaign for Halo, and I'm the multiplayer guy. So this is amazing, dude.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on. Where can we find you? Where's all the places we're gonna find you?
It's twitch.tv/HiddenXperia for when I eventually stream again.
Yeah.
YouTube, HiddenXperia, Twitter, HiddenXperia, Instagram, it's all HiddenXperia. Everything is HiddenXperia. Thank you for having me on. Thank you for having me on as well. I really appreciate it. I had a lot of fun talking about this. I love doing this type of stuff, so this is really fun.
Yeah, no problem, man. And I'd be happy to chat more. Maybe we'll get a chance to in the future.
Definitely.
Sounds good, dude. I'll see you around.
All right. Cheers, dude. Thanks a lot.
Cheers. All right, and that closes our interview for today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed, and I know a lot of you guys are waiting around in the chat for your HCS Grassroots giveaway. You type !giveaway in the chat, and you got a chance to win your BR skin and your nameplate. So let's find out who the winner is. I'll be waiting right here on Discord when Tony lets me know. We need a drum roll sound, Tony, or something that you could play up. Oh, here it is. There's no drum roll immediately. We got Moist Pity 1, 2, 3 with the BR skin and nameplate giveaway. Congratulations. Enjoy your goodies. You can flash them in Halo 5 or in Halo 3. And we do this every single week, guys. So if you're upset, you didn't win the giveaway, just come back next week, join the awesome discussion, maybe, drop a question or something, and you might, have a good chance of picking up that HCS Grassroots skin and nameplate. Let's also check out the merch as well, Tony. You can throw up the merch. Anything that you purchase here not only supports the show, it supports me as well, and I would highly appreciate that. So feel free to check out the merch right there. I also want to let you guys know that if you enjoy watching this show, maybe you don't have time to watch it. Maybe you're on the go. You might be on the subway, working out, whatever it is. We are available on Spotify. We're available on iTunes. We are available on Google Play. Just look up HCS Weekly. You can listen to this episode and more on the go. It's a great time to be a Halo fan. Anyway, that'll close our episode for today. I'll see you guys again next week.